Welcome. It's been a while. Sorry for not posting for a month. I do apologize for that. Remember I said I was going to go to Six Gates? About that, turns out Torontonians couldn't handle some snow and the whole city shut down, including Six Gates. So I couldn't go, and I'm sad. I really am sad, but I'll be back there in the fall probably of this year, so we do have to wait a bit. But in the meantime, I thought I'm gonna make a video because I had videos planned, but for some reason packages are getting not coming. I had a few unboxings coming. Package still hasn't arrived to me for 3 months. I'm gonna make this video for y'all. Today I'm basically calling this fingerboarding 101. I'm gonna teach maybe beginners or whoever how to pick out a fingerboard. And today we're talking about decks because decks are very complex. I'm gonna start with the shape and stuff, or I'm gonna start with what company you want to buy or what shape and stuff like that. So no script, I'm going off the dome, so forgive me if I do forget something. Maybe I'll put it in the description below. This is gonna be a very talkative video, so grab a snack, do something, yada yada. Starting off, what company do you want to buy from? That is a very important question that people sometimes ask. So companies is a very subjective kind of question, if that makes sense, because there is a lot of companies out there nowadays. There is a lot. So if you're a brand new beginner fingerboarder, and you have one of these and you don't know how to do an ollie on one of these, don't go out and buy a professional fingerboard or anything, because guess what, they are very expensive, and we know that. So learn it on a tech deck, all right? And you can even make upgrades in the future to your tech deck. There's videos on how to upgrade your tech deck. There's also some mid-range options I can give you here. If you want mid-range options, there's a lot of Grom series boards from Slush Cult, Broken Knuckle Mix boards. They're really dirt cheap, basically. EK fingerboards is a very good one. I would recommend them. There's a lot of brands out there. A lot of brands. Even Tech Deck has the performance series. So start there from a Tech Deck. Once you have a good bag of tricks, then we're going to talk about the professional fingerboards. Then you can start figuring that out for yourself. So with companies are pretty difficult to judge because there's a lot of them now. So when you're looking at a company, just see if you like what they're doing on Instagram or you hear good things about them. So ask around on either online or in person if you have that, that luxury. But if you hear good things about their brand, then feel free to go and purchase from them. If they do good for the fingerboard community, stuff like that. Very, very simple stuff like that. If you just like what you see, then most likely the brand is decent and people say good things about them. Never feel pressured to buy from a certain company because other people do. Really, it's up to you. So professional fingerboard decks. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them out there. Can put them in categories of low, medium, high shapes, low, medium, high, concave, stuff like that. When I'm talking about, for some terminology, when I'm talking about the kicks, I'm talking about the angle of which of the nose and tail points upwards. So whatever angle it steers upwards. So when I'm talking about high, medium, or low, the higher the kick, the more angle it has. So the more it points upwards. The less, the lower it is. So that's pretty simple. When I'm talking about dips are where the kick starts, basically. So where the board starts the kick. So that's right there. It's a little divot by usually the front truck holes. When I'm talking about concave is, you see how I put my finger here, it's not perfectly flat, but you see how there's a little gap in my finger, between my finger and the board? That's concave. Concave is the amount of kind of indent the board has in the middle here, kind of like a U shape. It's not perfectly flat, if that makes sense. So that's concave. That's a bit of terminology for y'all who didn't know. This is a high board. Like I said, we're starting off with high boards. So when I'm talking about high shape boards, they're very forgiving, I like to say. They're very forgiving board. they pop very high, obviously, and they're easy to flick. So if you're a beginner and you're trying to learn how to flick, high shape boards are where it's at, because they're so easy to flick, give you a lot of time to land on the board, which gives you that thing. So but in my opinion, the cons, I think you lack a bit of control with higher shape boards. Just that amount of time in the air, you just lose a bit of control. Like you lose consistency, I think. So you lose a bit of like style when you're fingerboarding. But not to say you can't have style with a high shape board, you definitely can. But I'm saying like consistency is like, I think you lack a bit with higher shape boards. But in terms of ease of use, very easy to use and great for beginners. So that's high shaped boards. Now I'm gonna go on the other end of the spectrum is lower shaped boards. Lower shaped boards are low, and the concaves are quite flat, and the kicks are obviously low. When you're riding a lower shaped boards, in my opinion, I think you have a lot more control, way more control than than a higher shaped board. But with that, I think they're a lot harder to use with than a higher kicked board. Like they have a bigger learning curve, but once you kind of learn that how to use them, I think you can get much better consistency, and you can look really stylish while using them. When I was using the Civil Made, which is a lower board in my opinion, I think my steez was a lot better than it is now. But not to say obviously you can't have steez on the other ones, but I think these generally speaking have the most. Harder to use in my opinion, but helps with consistency and overall skill in fingerboarding. Medium shaped boards are more complicated than you might think. They are like higher than low boards but lower than high boards, but that's not it. There is a lot more to these boards in my opinion. Overall, I think medium kick boards have a bit flatter concave, and dips are sort of defined but not very, and then obviously their kicks don't go super high. So that's about medium boards to me. So medium boards they do kind of have they're the in-betweener boards. Or using a high board for a while, I could strongly recommend getting a medium board, because it's kind of like the safe option, because most brands have a medium board that you can try, so you can branch out and have more options and companies out there, so you can try different companies and craftsmen's. So medium boards give you a lot more control than high boards. They also look more steezy in my opinion. You can pop them a bit lower, but then they're a bit easier to use than low boards. So there really are the in-betweener boards. So I call this the safe option. So if you're not sure what to get a medium board. That's basically what I can say about that. With the shape guide I given you, you can use this, or you don't have to, but you can use that shape guide. So fingerboarding is all preference at the end of the day. Everything can change later on. So in terms of widths, in my opinion, I think you should start off with 32 millimeters, because that's like the standard. 32 or 33 is fine, but in my opinion, I think 32 millimeters is the standard shape that most companies have nowadays. If you have larger hands, maybe 34 millimeters or wider, but for the most part, I think 32 millimeters if you're a beginner, it's the standard. But always go get more like widths and stuff, and lengths. And lengths standard is around, I would say, 96, 97, 98 millimeters. They used to be a lot longer, but for the most part, I think they're 96, 98, 95, or 96, 97, and 98 millimeters. That's generally where I think most companies are at. There are a lot of short fingerboard, like a lot of shapes that are shorter. Like I have this board, and this board is 92 millimeters long. This 5-lug is 94 millimeters long. So there's a lot of options out there, but if you're first starting out, you can start off with a more standard length. I would say maybe 96 millimeters is good, but the more you fingerboard, try going maybe shorter or longer if you would like. This is a 94 millimeter, and I really like it, and that took me 6 years to figure out. So don't be like, it's okay if you don't figure out in like the first few weeks of you fingerboarding, so don't feel like it's okay. At the end of the day, I think it's all subjective. You can figure this stuff out. So in terms of shape, there's a lot of weird shapes out there, But I would say, if you're a beginner, stick with a popsicle shape, and then later on try different wacky shapes if you would like. So, like I said, at the end of the day, it's all preference. It's all whatever you want to try. Don't feel pressured into trying something that you may not like, that you know you may not like. It's all preference, and it will take time for you to figure it out. Stay motivated. You got this. I hope this helped you out. Like I said, I didn't get to go to 6 skates, so that video is not coming out. Pretty disappointing, actually. So I'm just gonna put this one out for y'all. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you guys have a good day. Stay blessed. I don't know. Have a good day.